Welcome back. You're watching NewsX with me, Malvika. In a heartbreaking incident, a gruesome rape took place in Gujarat's Rajkot. A 6-year-old girl was first abducted, then attempted to be raped near her home. If that was not heinous enough, when the accused failed to rape the minor, he inserted a rod into her private parts. The girl has been admitted to a hospital in Rajkot. Police interrogated approximately 100 suspects to identify the accused. He was later identified as Ram Singh Tej Singh and was arrested. Let's take a look at what exactly happened in closer details. We'll just take you through the details of this gruesome incident that has taken place in Gujarat. So when we take a look at this case and how exactly it unfolded, we learn that a 6-year-old girl was playing outside her home in Abducted village, Rajkot district in Gujarat. So this young child was playing outside of her home just before this incident took place. An unknown man suddenly lured her and kidnapped her in broad daylight. So this man then comes up to her and abducts the little girl, and all of this has taken place in broad daylight. The child's family immediately started searching when she didn't return home. So of course, when after this abduction, the girl's family were looking for her, but they could not find her, after which a search was being carried out by the family members. The accused took the 6-year-old girl to a secluded spot near the village field. So this field where the child was playing, she was abducted from there by this man, and he then took her to a secluded spot close by. Accused tied a cloth around her mouth to silence her cries for help. So, you know, there was a lot of thought put behind this heinous crime. He has tied a cloth around her mouth in order to ensure that, you know, her screams are not heard by other people. The man attempted to rape the child, inserted rod-like weapon in her private parts. So of course, we've seen that at first he attempted to rape this 6-year-old child, and when he failed to do that, he went on to insert a rod into her private parts. The minor was found by her parents severely injured and bleeding profusely. So of course, when she was found by the family later on, she was found lying in an unconscious state, and she was covered in her own blood. Police arrested Ram Singh Tej Singh within hours. The survivor identified him as the perpetrator. So the girl went on to identify this man who has been identified as Ram Singh Tej Singh, and who was arrested by police after they questioned more than 100 suspects. So of course, the action currently ongoing into this gruesome case. So those are the details that we take a look at when this, you know, heinous crime took place yesterday, and now the accused has been arrested as well. I am being joined by my colleague Pratik Limbani, who will help us to understand the exact details of this heinous crime. Pratik, a very shocking incident in Gujarat. Take us through what exactly happened and what is currently going on. We know that the accused has been arrested. What is the action that is now being taken by police?
जी मालविका, जैसी घटना राजकोट में हुई हो शायद वो कहीं नहीं हुई हो और ना हो सके, लेकिन जो कैसे कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि ये जो निर्भया दिल्ली में जो निर्भया केस हुआ था उससे भी बड़ी ये घटना हुई है। एक 6 साल की बच्ची को दरिंदे ने रेप करने की कोशिश की थी, रेप करना होने की वजह से।
We'll try to sort out that connection, but I'm also being joined by Ms. Seema Kushwaha, who is an advocate in the Nirbhaya case. Ma'am, thank you for joining us this morning. What we're looking at over here is another gruesome crime. A 6-year-old child, an attempted rape of a 6-year-old child, and when this man has failed to carry out this crime, he has went on to insert a rod into the child's private parts. When you take a look at such cases and how they are still continuing to be carried out, you know, what is your first reaction when you look at this heartbreaking incident?
After only five days के बाद 16th of December आने वाला है, 13 साल हो जाएंगे निर्भया के साथ। 16 दिसंबर 2012 को इस तरीके का क्राइम हुआ था। 13 साल बाद भी ऐसे लगता है मेरा देश, यहाँ के लोग उसी जगह खड़े हुए हैं। 6 साल की बच्ची के साथ इतना हीनियस क्राइम, माइंडसेट क्यों नहीं बदल रहा है? कानून का प्रॉपर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन क्यों नहीं है? हमारी बच्चियां सेफ और सिक्योर क्यों नहीं हो पा रही हैं? हम तब भी निर्भया के लिए लड़ रहे थे, आज भी निर्भया जैसी हमारी बच्चियों के साथ हालात हैं। तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, सोचने वाली बात है। हमारी बेटियां सेफ सिक्योर रहेगा। वो व्यक्ति, वो एक्यूज उस बच्ची को उठा करके ले गया है खेत में, उसने उसके साथ रेप करने की कोशिश की, वो बच्ची चिल्लाई, वो सक्सेस नहीं हुआ तो उसने उसकी प्राइवेट पार्ट में रॉड डाल दी। इतना ये दर्दनाक घटना है और मुझे लगता है कि एक बार कलेक्टिवली पूरे देश को, चाहे हमारी पॉलिटिक्स हो, चाहे हमारा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, पुलिस और स्पेशली जुडिशियल रिफॉर्म की बहुत जरूरत है। क्योंकि अभी हम सुन रहे हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया ने रिसेंटली 2 दिन पहले ही इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट के एक जस्टिस ने जो जजमेंट दिया था कि एक बच्ची के साथ अगर क्राइम होता है, उसके प्राइवेट पार्ट्स को टच करना, उसके नाड़े को खोल देना, ये सब अटेम्प्ट टू रेप में भी नहीं कंसीडर किया उन्होंने। तो ये जो इंटरप्रिटेशन है, जो माइंडसेट है, जो मैसेज जुडिशरी को देना चाहिए, जो पुलिस को सेंसिटिवली वर्क करना चाहिए, ट्रांसपेरेंसी के साथ करना चाहिए, फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स होने चाहिए, कन्विक्शन रेट बढ़ना चाहिए, हम वो डिटरेंस वाला मैसेज डिलीवर करना चाहिए, वो कुछ भी नहीं हो पा रहा है। आज भी स्टिल हम वहीं खड़े हुए। कन्विक्शन रेट हमारी कंट्री में 30% से 25 to 30%। तो जो 100 क्राइम्स हो रहे हैं उसमें से वो 70% लोग कहाँ हैं? वो तो बाहर घूम रहे हैं, वो बच जा रहे हैं। और जिनका कन्विक्शन भी हो रहा है, मुझे लगता है उनका कन्विक्शन 7 साल बाद, 8 साल बाद, 10 साल बाद। निर्भया के साथ दिल्ली की राजधानी में रात को 8 बजे क्राइम हुआ था उस बेटी के साथ, 7 ईयर लग गए। पूरा देश आग बबूला था कि नहीं, इस बेटी को जल्दी से जल्दी जस्टिस मिलना चाहिए। लेकिन मुझे लगता है हम भूल जाते हैं और इसीलिए आए दिन इस तरीके के क्राइम्स होते हैं और फिर हमारी बेटियां, अगेन हम चर्चा कर लेंगे, अगेन हम सारा डिबेट डिस्कशन सब कुछ होता है, फिर हम भूल जाते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि कोई भी मैटर चाहे मीडिया में ना आए, कोई भी मैटर चाहे वो किसी भी स्टेट का, कहीं का भी, किसी भी कास्ट, क्लास, कहीं का भी हो, लेकिन एक सिस्टम ऐसा डेवलप होना चाहिए जहां पर हर जगह पे एक पायलट प्रोजेक्ट चलना चाहिए कि बेटियों से रिलेटेड कोई भी केस प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स के तौर पर हमें स्टेप्स उठाने चाहिए कि कहीं पर भी हमारी बेटियां सुरक्षित महसूस ना करें। जब तक ये सब नहीं होगा, इस दरिंदी मानसिकता के लोग बेटियों के साथ ऐसे क्राइम करते रहेंगे और बहुत मुश्किल होगा। वो 16 दिसंबर दूर रही है और आज 10 दिसंबर है। हमारे सामने एक फिर निर्भया है और ऐसी कितनी निर्भयाएं होंगी जिनके बारे में हमें पता भी नहीं चल रहा। तो 21वीं सदी में ये देश हमारा, एक तरफ हमारी बेटियां जिनको मौका मिल रहा है, अंतरिक्ष में जा रही है, क्रिकेट में वर्ल्ड कप जीत रही है, हर चीज कर रही है, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ हमारी वो बेटियां जो उनकी पॉसिबिलिटी है कि वो भी कंट्री में कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकती हैं, उनको तो उनके साथ ये हालत की जा रही है।
जी जी ma'am, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective as well, and taking us through what exactly is happening currently nationwide and all of the action that is still needed to combat such issues. But I'm also now being joined by Brinda Adeke, women and child rights activist, on the broadcast. Brinda, early in the morning we're getting this news of this gruesome rape. This man attempts to rape a 6-year-old child, and when he fails to carry out the crime, he inserts a rod into her private parts. How do you view this case right now? We're seeing so much talk about safety for women, safety for children, and after these incidents that we saw in Kolkata. However, we still continue to encounter such a case on a young child in Gujarat now. Take us through your first feeling when you heard about this case.
I cannot imagine the pain and the trauma that child is going through just now, as well as her family. One of the most important things that we must understand is we are a nation that thrives on lies and hiding the most important stuff. We don't want to talk about perversion, sexual predators, or even let our children understand how they can keep themselves safe, or for that matter, how to keep them safe. We talk a lot, we have very intelligent minds, we talk about systems, but we never talk about any of the punishment that must be meted out to these people at a speedy rate. Our courts are not concerned. They are still so colonial that it goes on for years. The previous speaker was talking about the kind of conviction rates that are dismal in our country. But before the conviction rates, we want to talk about what's happening to POCSO cases in our courts. Almost 80 to 85% of our judges are not trained. Our prosecutors are not trained. We do not have the systems in place for forensic evidence to be collected and analyzed quickly, which again then puts all of us at a back foot. But all that said and done, we are still struggling with witness and victim protection. We have the schemes, but we have not been able to protect them. With this kind of a systemic, dismal background, where is it that we can bring any of these to justice? And our children, we're looking at children, this particular child is from the migrant labor community. What has the Department of Women and Child or the Labor Department done to keep them safe? They are supposed to have mobile schools. So why are those mobile schools not there? If it was there, probably the child would have been safe. We are talking of spending crores of rupees every day on absolutely inane things. And yet we are not able to keep our children safe. And these are very difficult questions that nobody wants to ask, because we might upset some politician, we might upset some bureaucrat, and then we might upset some political party also, because we are questioning what are they doing in our senates, in our parliaments, in our assemblies. If they can't keep our children safe, why are they there?
Well, absolutely. As you rightly said, there still seems to be a very, very long way to go. And, when we take a look at this case, one of the key facts that come out is that this man, the accused, he was known to the child's family. He was working in the same field as the child's family. And that is what comes out in many of these cases. The accused are often people who are known to the victim. So when we take this man, he has a daughter of his own, he has 2 sons, he's a father himself. When we take a look at such facets, how those people who carry out such crimes, they're often known members, they're not some strangers that come out of nowhere. Where do we go from here? What are the steps that are needed to address such a major issue for women, for children across the country?
You're right. Research and study point out that nearly 85% of rapists or sexual predators are people known to us within our families, our neighborhoods, and our communities. What do we do for this? One is we don't talk about it too much. We always will blame the mother, saying, why did you leave your child unguarded, unattended, whatever, whatever. We never raise this issue of perversion in the sexual predators. We do not question these things about how dare you do something like this. I mean, why should you not be severely, stringently punished immediately by the courts? Why would the court still go on various kinds of procedures and protocols and not address this issue seriously? Because if we are talking about being a developing country, we must learn from developed countries on how the judicial system works in those countries. Now, that said, we still need to look at prevention. We want to look at protection. Both of these are not looked at. This man probably was eyeing, planning for a very long time. We know today that porn consumption is almost highest among Indian men. I'm sure women and others also consume, but the highest are men consuming porn in India. And that said, perversion through porn is something that is available everywhere. We do not have any kind of safeguards for that. And these people will do this on people who are most vulnerable, like children. Now, you said that he also has a daughter of his own. He won't do that to his daughter just now. But there might come a time when he would do it on them, because these are pervert sexual predators who do not mind whether it is daughter or sister or mother, because they are still under the guard of somebody. He will have to, do something where he has to show another face to his wife and family. But over here, he thought he could get away. And thankfully, they have caught him. And good that the police worked so quickly to get this fellow, so that forensic evidence is at least available to put him behind bars. Now the rest is with the prosecution and the judiciary. Will they buck up? Will they really go through with the Justice Verma Commission for speedy trial and speedy penal action? Because we never question the prosecution and the judiciary. They literally seem to be holy cow, if I might use that phrase. We don't question them. We don't challenge them. We don't ask them, why would you not go through with the law? Why is it that you will go on giving date after date, allow the defense lawyer to take the case forward, knowing that it's not going to go anywhere, and there is a child who needs support, who needs to bring this perpetrator to justice. So we must ask these questions. I'm so glad that your TV channel NewsX is taking this up seriously. I hope that everybody raises a hue and a cry so that our government starts functioning. And we are not asking charity or benevolence from them. Just that whatever the Justice Verma Commission is talking about, has talked about, put it on paper, follow through with it. You cannot make excuses that we have no money. We are not a poor nation. So don't make those excuses. Our children need to be safe.
Absolutely, Brinda. I would request you to please stay on with us. We're also currently being joined by Ms. Mumtaz Patel, who is a political leader and the daughter of Ahmed Patel. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. Horrific crime that has taken place in Gujarat, and this attempted rape of a 6-year-old child, and this man has gone on to insert a private rod into her iron rod into her private parts. When we take a look at such a case, it's been almost 13 years, more than 13 years of the Nirbhaya case. How do we ensure the safety of our women, our children, when cases such as this are still taking place, and we're seeing this crime unfold over there in Gujarat, where this man has gone on to make such an attempt on a 6-year-old child?
It's absolutely shocking. And exactly a year ago, I remember waking up to another news in Bharuch of a 10-year-old. She ultimately succumbed to her injuries and died. And we also saw another incident in Dahod. So there has been a very disturbing rise in these child assault cases, especially coming from Gujarat. And, as a society, I think we fail. As governments, we fail. And it's just a very grim reminder that, there is a very, very urgent need for child safety measures. There has to be more community awareness. I've spoken about it so many times in the last few years, because every time, rape case happens, especially with little children, it just shows that there is some rot in society. There is a problem. And the main problem at this point in time, I feel, is that we don't strictly show a zero tolerance policy against such predators. Yes, the incident that happened last year in Bharuch, the predator, ultimately the rapist, got a death sentence, but the child died. This little girl is also critical. 13 years after Nirbhaya, when the entire country had come down on the roads demanding more specific measures, today we're still in the same situation. Our children are not safe, our girls are not safe. It's just shocking, and more needs to be done. There is definitely no awareness still, and the fact that these guys get away, I think somewhere there is a problem within our system.
Absolutely, ma'am. And despite all of these steps that are being taken, we saw capital punishment being handed out to the accused in the Nirbhaya case, although that also came after quite some time. Now, recently we've seen horrific cases in Kolkata as well, and now this. What should be done? What should we be doing? Not just our governments, not just the people, but the society at large. What steps do you want to see being taken, and especially when we look at our governments, what should be our expectations from our leaders in order to ensure that such incidents are not repeated?
No, firstly, I think there has to be more dialogue on this. There has to be more community awareness on this. People need to be sensitized. Accountability needs to be taken. There has to be, like I said again, zero tolerance. I mean, let's hope that since this child was from Madhya Pradesh and the incident happened in Gujarat, it shouldn't get caught. I mean, it should not have any political what do you call it, cat fight, because both governments belong to the BJP. So let's hope for a smoother process in terms of the migrants who probably were in who were in Gujarat. And I mean, what I'm trying to say is that there has to be less politics in this case, because both are BJP ruled states, and ultimately what happens is we get caught in the politics of it. There is furor on television. People talk about it for some time and then forget until another horrific case like this happens. So we have to talk about this in the community, raise these issues again and again, and the harshest punishments need to be meted out immediately. I mean, there has to be zero tolerance. You have to give capital punishment. There is no two ways about it. And as far as child safety is concerned, gender-specific assaults happen regularly. I think as a government, we need to come together along with all these NGOs, different communities, and start talking about women's safety, children's safety. We need to start sensitizing families across how to take care, how to be more aware. And also, when it comes to men and these predators, there is definitely a brain rot somewhere. There is something wrong as a society that these people still have a mindset where they think like monsters. I mean, they don't even think. I think it's not even that they think like monsters. Probably they don't think before committing an act like this. So where are we going wrong? We need to figure this out as a society.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us and speaking about this very, very important issue. We have Brinda Rige, who is still with us on the broadcast. Brinda, I would just like to come back to you for, your thoughts on this, your demands currently. What do you want to put out as a demand to our leaders and to society as large when we take a look at preventing such heinous crimes being carried out with any other woman, with any other child?
The most important thing is to have a team, especially a team of doctors and police and counselors who will work together. And this must be a trained team. We can't have the same people doing crime and doing traffic and everything else together and handling children who are sexually abused, assaulted and raped. We then want to have more prosecutors who are appointed by the government and again trained specifically to address these cases and bring these cases to court properly before the judiciary. And the judges, of course, need to be also trained. There are very few judges now, and they oscillate between taking up regular cases and then coming to the POCSO courts. So we must have special courts which are there, but they also double up as the other civil courts. So we want that to be taken into consideration seriously, because we know the cases of POCSO are many,
yes,
and very few come to court. And that also is our society, patriarchal and all of those things. But we want to look at prevention and protection. So that team must be also consisting of civil society organizations and the counselors and the police and all of them. That said, we also want our politicians to look at the kind of budget that they are giving to children and women. The department itself gets least budget, and then the budget gets, it doesn't get spent.
Absolutely, Brinda. Thank you so much for joining us with your perspective on that story as well. With that, viewers, we'll slip into a very short break. We'll be right back.